Bed and Breakfast Paolo Santalucia and Gregory Preston. Bed and Breakfast, Sila Von Tiedemann, written by Mark Crawford, directed by Anne-Marie Carr. Until Sept. 2 at the Young Center for the Performing Arts, 50 Tank House Lane, soulpepper.ca and 416-866-8666. Though his plays only started being produced 4 years ago, Mark Crawford has taken stages by storm in Ontario and beyond. This summer, no less than 3 theatres in the province are putting on his shows: The Birds and the Bees at the Huron County Playhouse, the New Canadian Curling Club at the Blyth Festival, and now Bed and Breakfast at Soulpepper, the first sustained run of one of his shows by a Toronto company. The sweet spot, he's hit his populist comedy with a contemporary sensibility. Crawford writes believable, likable characters in situations that resonate with a broad public and who may not have been seen on mainstream stages before. The New Canadian Curling Club, for example, is set in a rural Ontario town where Syrian refugees joined a learn to curl class. Bed and Breakfast is about a gay couple who check out of the Toronto housing wars to start a guest house in a place that could be Gananoque, where the play premiered in 2015, and could be Stratford, where Crawford lives. Article continued below. The extra element that takes this script to the level of classic farce is that 2 actors, Gregory Preston and Paolo Santalucia, play not just the couple but about 20 other characters between them. The theatrical conceit, easily and elegantly established, is that Brett Prest and Drew Santalucia are acting out the story of renovating the Bee. More is at stake than whether or not they'll have all the towels folded and scones baked by opening day. Crawford has taken on big themes of homophobia, in many forms: societal, familial, internalized, acceptance and belonging. The play goes further than you might expect, introducing deepening levels of intrigue and identity challenge for its central characters that made me feel, at the end of its 2.5-hour running time, including intermission, that I'd been on a significant and satisfying emotional journey. Director Anne-Marie Carr's production finds its heart in a beautifully evoked central relationship while still going for it with all the slamming doors and quick changes. Alexandra Lord's 2-level set creates a flexible playing ground, enabling swift moves between settings and situations. Real-life couple Prest and Santalucia give technically adept and deeply humane performances, particularly as they navigate Brett and Drew's crux moments of decision-making, crisis management and sharing joy at life's milestones. But perhaps in trying to counter the more heightened farcical passages, and there's a doozy worthy of Fawlty Towers, the actors sometimes downplay the quieter scenes to the point where audibility becomes a concern. There were lines in Prest's crucial final monologue that I simply couldn't hear. The secondary male characters are written and played with skill and empathy, from Santalucia's gruff contractor Doug and monosyllabic nephew Cody to Prest's queer teen Dustin and larger-than-life city friend Ray. But the female characters are less thoughtfully observed. However much I wanted to love them, the real estate agent, Carrie Santalucia, and the cafe owner Allison Prest come across as slightly hysterical sketches rather than real people. In the 3 years since the play premiered, awareness around questions of intersectionality has increased dramatically, and as such, recognition of the characters' white privilege could have added to its timeliness, as could more precision around the depiction of a pair of young newlyweds whose disruptive behavior contributes to the Fawlty Towers sequence. Overall, there is a lot of richness to savor here in Crawford's acute comic observations, which of course are going to land differently in Toronto than they would in a small-town context. You could feel a testy little shift in the audience when Drew sighs, "We're so busy trying to afford to live here that we don't actually do any living here," before they make the big break. A place where people read newspapers made out of actual paper, and order larges, not grandes. Bed and Breakfast draws on the allure of such environments but doesn't sugarcoat them either. I hope that there are more plays to come out of Crawford's generous engagement with the changing Canada. Karen Fricker is a Toronto-based theatre critic and a freelance contributor for The Star. Follow her on Twitter, @KarenFricker2.